welcome back to my channel. This is Steph, and today, as you can see, we're working again in my sister's bullet journal for 2022. As a reminder, I recorded these videos last year in September, October-ish, because I was giving this 6-month journal to her as a surprise Christmas/birthday gift. Her birthday again is the day after Christmas. So I had kind of pre-set up all of these pages and themes and then sent it to her. So currently this is her March setup, and I went with a olive branch kind of theme. I was heavily inspired by Plant-Based Bride, who did a very similar theme, I'm guessing in August or September, because I remember wanting to do a different theme and then seeing her setup and thinking it was just perfect. My themes for this journal as a whole have been themes that bring back memories or were significant for my sister and myself in our childhood. She lives in California, where I'm from, and I now live in Virginia, so I had to, of course, mail this to her, but I wanted all of the spreads to be significant for us. So we both grew up just around a lot of agriculture and a lot of farmers markets, and one in particular, a place called Casa de Fruta. I want to say it's near Hollister or Gilroy. It's out in the foothills of the coastal mountains in California, and my grandmother would always buy these big jars of olives, green olives, and so we used to eat them quite a bit, sometimes to the point of hurting our stomachs. And so I chose the olive branch for that reason. Plus, I just really liked the colors. I wanted something green for March. That's something that I always incorporate green into my March setups. It's the beginning of spring, and the world is kind of coming back to life, especially in California, where it's quite a bit warmer. Here in Virginia, it still looks quite a bit like winter outside. Anyway, another significant meaning for the olive and the olive branches is obviously there's a lot of biblical significance to the olive branch. It also symbolizes, peace and serenity. And so I chose a quote that relates to that for her for this month as well. So just as a fun fact about this setup, I will say in the entire 6-month journal that this March setup, took absolutely the longest. It was a lot of detail work. My hand was very tired by the end of it, and I was using these little Staedler Triplus fineliners to color in everything, and they are very, very fine tipped. So I would say I probably had close to 3 hours of footage for this 18-minute video. So I cut out quite a bit of it. You'll see not so much on this page, but on later pages where I'll just kind of skip ahead because you don't need to see me filling out the pattern over and over and over. Something that I learned from Plant-Based Bride when she did this setup was that the leaves on the olive branches, were kind of twisty, and I just kind of freehand drew those. I didn't do too much erasing this time, which was really shocking. Once I had decided the aesthetic I was going to go for, I wanted, this pattern of olive branches with some olives on each one, and then the boxes in front with, the white, almost like a sheet of paper in front of it. Another thing that I'm considering doing for at least the rest of my sister's months, again, I've already filmed her setup for her second 6-month journal. I've already filmed her July and her August. I have sketched in her September, and I know the themes for October, November, and December. I am considering not filming the setups and just kind of doing a flip through, simply because that will give me the freedom to kind of work on them in a more casual way than setting up my filming equipment on my table and waiting for a day where there's a lot of great natural light coming in. I think that it'll be less restrictive if I'm just kind of coloring it in and creating it, while I'm doing other things, and then just filming a flip through kind of in real time where I can discuss the reason I went with that theme or how I achieved a specific aesthetic, if that's, kind of something that would be more interesting to you guys than watching me color in these little leaves for 15 minutes, then definitely let me know in the comments if a flip through video that's like 5 to 7 minutes would be better than these 15 to 20 minute super sped up videos that I've been putting out recently. The font, obviously, I was trying to do something that was just very clean, very print font kind of. So I wanted something to be extremely readable and not super difficult to do, because I was already doing so much with the doodles, with the art on the pages, that I wanted the font to be simple in comparison. And then I just outlined the boxes, obviously, with the brown Triplus fineliner that I used, the same brown for the branches, for the olive leaves. And then moving on to the calendar page, I just skipped you guys seeing me drawing the calendar lines. The boxes are my normal 5 boxes wide by 6 boxes tall, simple headers at the top, and then I just drew the pattern all around. If you haven't already watched my March setup video, it will be recommended at the end of this video. Hopefully you'll make it that far. My March theme was The Sims, the video game, a much brighter, more colorful aesthetic than this, which is a little bit more detailed. I spent 3 times longer making this setup for my sister than I did making the Sims setup for myself. So I originally was making this bullet journal for her because I wanted to know if custom bullet journals, if creating bullet journals for other people was a reasonable thing that I could do, both in terms of the time it would take to set them up, also in terms of the cost it would be to sell them. And yeah, I think I'm a person who doesn't really like the super simple setups, especially not for other people. I mean, for myself, it's fine if I do something really simple because it's my own journal and I'm going to be using it. But I feel like when I'm setting up a journal for either my sister or for somebody else, I feel like they would have higher expectations than I maybe am capable of giving within a reasonable amount of time. I don't think I should be in a situation where I'm spending more time on someone else's journal than I'm spending on my own. I know that sounds bad, but what I mean by that is if I'm going to attempt to do something like sell custom bullet journals or set up an Etsy shop or something like that, then it needs to be something where I can set up an entire monthly setup for them, cover page, calendar spread, habit and mood tracker, some kind of budget or other thing that they want, and I should be able to create a month worth in 90 minutes or less. If I can do it in 90 minutes or less, then a 6-month journal is 9 hours of time spent, plus the initial setup pages if they have any of those, so we'll say 10 hours. And when you get into the value of your time for something that's 10 hours, aside from the enjoyment I get of creating the spread plus the practice with, setting up weeklies and coming up with different ideas, I would probably have to charge like $180, $200 for a 6-month setup. So ideally, if I can come up with really quick, easy themes where I'm so used to doing them and I can create a monthly setup in 45 minutes, then obviously something like $100 for a 6-month bullet journal would be more reasonable as a price point. But even then, when I consider spending $100 on a 6-month bullet journal, me personally, I'm going to want something to the level that I'm creating here, which obviously I spent a lot longer than 45 minutes. So it's kind of I don't know, maybe if I spend the time to create something like this spread, a digital download or a printable version would be more useful, both in terms of return and also in terms of cost for the person who is purchasing it. I'm just rambling at this point, thinking out loud, but that gives you kind of an idea of why I'm doing these pages for my sister, and also my thought process in terms of creating journals for other people. Like if I had somebody that asked me if I could do it and they were nearby, I would absolutely do it on a month-by-month basis, but this is a huge time suck when it comes to creating in-depth spreads like this for someone else. And yeah, I have a full-time job. I am a mother full-time. I have a partner who requires time as well, plus maintaining physical health, exercise, running errands, grocery shopping, all the other things that take up time of my day, maintaining, my home. It's a lot. And goodness, it would, like I said, it would have to really be worth the time spent in order to really do this full time. But a question for you guys, have you ever purchased a custom bullet journal or planner from anyone online, or have you sold them? And if so, please let me know in the comments. Were you shocked by the sticker price of a fully custom journal? Were you expecting it to be less expensive or more detailed? Just kind of what are your thoughts on how I feel about it? Because I'm definitely a more frugal person most of the time. So that price point of like a full custom journal for $150 to $200, it was shocking when I first saw how much other people were charging for it. So there again was another jump. I really liked the way this habit tracker page turned out, because I just went to the back of the journal, which is test pages that she's never going to use, and I cut out little boxes with the months on them, with a white space above so she can write in whatever habit she's tracking, and then I just, adhered them over the pattern that I had already created. So kind of wasting my time in terms of coloring in the full pattern, but at the same time, I don't think I would have enjoyed creating the spread being mindful of where those boxes were going to be ahead of time. It was actually easier to just go ahead and create the pattern and then just glue the boxes over top. I really should take my own advice and do that when I'm doing things like plaid patterns, because the breaking up of the line is annoying when I'm doing it on my own pages. And then for the mood tracker, this is like the least accurate olive branch ever, but I just wanted her to have a really simple olive branch where she can color in each leaf for the day, depending on her mood. And of course, I never give her assigned color keys because whatever material she's using, she can decide, you know, whatever color she wants that tracker to be. The only Tombow I used in this, by the way, was and of course I always list the materials that I used in the description. I don't know the names for the Triplus fineliners. I bought them at Office Max. They were some of the first bullet journaling supplies I purchased, and they're not labeled, so I have no idea. But the Tombow is the same super dark purple that I used for the Black Flame candle in my Hocus Pocus October setup, which I like super surprised. Even now in February going into March, in the last 28 days and in the last 48 hours, that video is still consistently getting more views than even my most recent setup videos. So it was just I was just really kind of surprised by that. So the final pages in my sister's setups each month is just a brain dump page for her, and then a monthly highlights page where she can write in any awesome or not so awesome, whatever she feels like, key events that happened in March. Also, just as a heads up, I did ask her which her favorite setup was in this entire journal, and she did tell me that it was April. So if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to my channel, and next month when I do release that edited setup video, you will get notified and you'll get to see why it's her favorite. We are finishing up, and then we will be doing the final flip through of this olive branch theme, heavily inspired by Plant-Based Bride. Definitely go watch her video, but not until, well, obviously this one's almost over. Hers is way better. She is absolutely amazing at creating stunning layouts. This is a very simplified version of what she created. Again, I want to thank you guys for being here and for watching this video. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments which of these spreads was your favorite. I will see you guys next time.